for another video. So we're going to get started with priming, and I am going to prime my face with the Nivea's post shave balm, and I am basically doing everything but my T-zone with that. And then for my T-zone, I'm using the Becca Evermatte poreless priming perfector. Yep, if I can get it out. And that's because that's my oily area. And I'm going to use the Sasha Cosmetics matte face powder in tan, and then I'm just using this powder brush and I'm just kind of patting that in. All right, I'm going to go on top of that with certain areas that I can basically that stand out with the hyperpigmentation. I'm using the orange corrector, and then I'm just using a simple beauty wedge in order to pat that in. And that's just going to give us a smoother canvas. I'm going to go back with that same powder and the same brush, and then I'm going to go on top of that corrector. You want to do that because you don't want it to stand out when you put your foundation on, and you also basically want it to kind of stay in place, and setting it with powder will make it stay in place so it doesn't like budge and move when you put your foundation on. And then I'm using the Kat Von D. This is shade 71. They got rid of 66, so this is 71. Alright, and then I don't normally put the eyebrows in here, but I've been contouring in like pretty much all the videos. I'm thinking you guys are over it. So I just wanted to add the brows in this one. I'm using the MAC Cosmetics. I believe this is the Strut. I want to say Strut. It may not be Strut, but the words are kind of smeared off on this, so I'm not 100% sure. It's either Strut or Spite. I think one of the two. And then I'm just using small strokes throughout, and I just want to make it look, you know, more full and more like little strokes instead of a big line. And then I'm going to go back with a spoolie and kind of straighten all of that out and lighten up the inner portion of the brows. Then I'm going to use the NYX Eyebrow Gel in Espresso, and I pretty much just use that on the tail end. That's the end that is going to be the darkest, is just the tail, and I want to keep it kind of light throughout, but I'm just kind of spreading that out a little bit. And then I'm going to use the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara in Chocolate. And I love using that because it really kind of lightens up the brows. Sometimes when I finish, I'm like, oh my goodness, they were too dark. But that helps lighten them up a little bit and makes them look more natural. And then I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Concealer. This is 6.5. I'm going to use that above and below, just to sharpen the brows. And then I'm going to switch to I believe it's 4.0. And I'm going to use that to highlight underneath the brows. Yep, that's 4.0. I'm using the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, my favorite of all time eyeshadow primer. And then I'm just spreading that throughout the inner corner and right underneath the brow bone. And I love the packaging for this, by the way. So pretty. Alright, so I'm starting off with the Puree, and I'm using the MAC M433, and I want to work my way from the crease up a little bit higher, and I'm just kind of like using swiping motions to blend, patting motions to pack on. And then I'm using another 433 Morphe brush, and I'm using Summer Yum, and then I want to apply that directly into the crease, and I'm going to push that from the outer corner, kind of work that way to the inner corner of the eye. And then I'm working that Summer Yum also along my lash line and underneath the eye. Okay, I'm using the Makeup Forever 12 Color Flash palette, and I'm going to use the white out of that palette. I'm going to carve out my eyelid. And I'm not going to do the entire eyelid. I'm going to leave basically a little bit, probably 1/4 at the tail end of the eye on the outer corner. And then I'm going back into the palette. I'm going to use Candy Peach. And then I'm patting and swiping that. All right, and I really have to work that color in, so it's taking a little while. And then I'm going to use on the inner corner, I'm going to use that Nectar. And I'm using it on the inner corner and then bringing that in a little bit further in the first quarter of the eye, and going back with the Summer Yum and adding a little bit more on the outer corner of the eye and working that through to the crease, so that the other color is kind of carved out a little bit more. And then with my finger, I'm going to take a little bit of the Bellini and I'm going to go on top of the Candy Peach, and it just gives it a very pretty look. It kind of lightens it up a little bit, gives it a lot of shimmer. It's very pretty that way. And then I'm going to use Tempting to kind of smoke out this eye look here. And then I am kind of starting out from the outer corner and pushing that in to the crease and more like a V motion. And then I'm going to use that white color and use the waterline. And then it's pretty simple from here. I'm using the NARS Frenzy. And I'm starting off with that blush. This is a dark orange blush. And then I'm using that gold highlighter in that palette. And I'm not really going too dark. I'm not really a huge blush person that, you know, you just have to see it. I think blush is just to add a little color. I don't think it's to go crazy, but, you know, that's just my personal preference. Do what you like. Alright, so I'm adding a little bit more of that. And then I am using, oh my goodness, I forgot so quickly. Anyway, I'm using that mascara that I just bought from the Balm. And I will try to remember to have that added below so you can see what it is. And this is a nude pencil from Jordana. And I believe it's called Naturally or Natural Nude. And then I'm using Noble from Kat Von D. Oh my goodness. And I love these Lena lashes. And because they are on the other side of the boxes, on the other side of the room, I will list that below. Alright, and then I'm using the MAC Dahhlinggg. I think that's how you say it. It's from the Mariah Carey collection, and that collection was so beautiful. The packaging is the most gorgeous packaging I've seen from MAC. It's very pretty, very girly or feminine with all the sparkle and the glitz and glam. And then I am using another Mariah Carey collection item. This is her gloss, and I will put that below as well. I'm sorry guys, I just forgot to write all this stuff down, so I have it ready for the video. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will try to list everything below in the video. If I forget, you know, feel free to, you know, post below and remind me to do that, and I will do that as soon as possible. Thanks guys.